and welcome back to Arc Rewind. We are a podcast. We're students, and we're going to talk about the reality of architecture school, news and discussions. My name is Julia.
I'm Stanley.
I'm Giorgio.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Ben.
And today we're discussing the culture of architecture school. Its quirks, its grind, its ritual, and whether it's inspiring, toxic, or both. So, guys, is it just us, or is architecture school kind of a weird experiment? A weird social experiment? I want you guys to talk about studio all-nighters, weird model making methods, coffee dependence, and postal culture. I want you guys to talk about your favorite or least favorite tradition in architecture school.
Favorite or least favorite tradition?
Yeah. Or maybe you could talk about first if it's architecture school is a weird social experiment.
A weird social. I don't really think it's a weird social experiment in the sense that it's made that way. I think the students have made it that way, ironically enough.
Expand on that.
I mean, as far as I won't start with the all-nighters just yet, but I think, at least from what I've seen at FAU, I think it's really interesting how a lot of people, they'll be working on their projects, but it's not necessarily that you're working alone, like everyone's around you working, and then let's say everyone's on a break, we all go together, maybe go get to a bite to eat, or go, walk around for a bit to get some fresh air, It's like you're working on your own project, but you're not working on your project alone, if that makes sense.
Yeah, studio culture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, with the all-nighters, might be a little hot take, but I think all-nighters are completely unnecessary, aside from a few given scenarios. And if you're consistently doing all-nighters, you gotta change something. Something's gotta change, because you're not doing something right.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to come at anybody's throats, but it's like you're consistently putting yourself, like you're doing a disservice to yourself. You're consistently putting yourself in high stress situations over and over and over, constantly draining your body both physically and mentally. And it's not gonna lead anywhere good. People have almost got into best friends have almost got into world-ending arguments with each other. People have they'll fall asleep in the middle of class because of all-nighters, or they'll like look so dead it's like you're seeing a ghost walking around. I joke about it, but like it's actually like a serious issue.
Concerning.
Very.
I think it's serious for you.
The architecture school being a weird social experiment. You guys, what do you think?
I think, sorry, you can go, Ben.
If we're talking about a weird social, it kind of is in its own right. You kind of brought up toxicity. Is it toxic or is it not? I feel like it really depends, because I feel like our school in general is definitely not as toxic as others. Definitely are. Because there are schools that for sure they basically pit each architecture student against each other, your idea versus my idea, and that really does create this culture of fighting, essentially, not only against your own mental faculties when you pull these all-nighters, but against every single other person in your section or in like the studio space. So I believe like our studio culture is much different, because I actually enjoy pulling these all-nighters sometimes, not always, but kind of being with other people, bouncing ideas off of other people that do stay here overnight sometimes. But I feel like just having this like student to student interaction and critique in its right is kind of that on the opposite spectrum of toxic. It's not toxic. I actually quite enjoy it.
But I think that there's something to be said that I guess that goes per like personal experience, because for example, if you're a morning person, it might not be the same experience that I'm having as a night person. So for example, it bothers me doing all-nighters, but like it bothers me because like I already got so used to it. It's bad, but I already got so used to it that it doesn't affect me mentally anymore. It doesn't affect my energy. I can just wait until I get home and go to sleep. But now it's affecting my health. I feel sick the next day. So then it's like, but I feel sick. But at the same time, I like being in school. I feel like there are certain moments, again, like it's a whole culture in itself that like when you're in studio, again, one thing is you be in studio pulling all-nighter by yourself. But when you're in studio and you have like 5 different people pulling all-nighters, it's cool.
Yeah.
Like you guys are vibing, listening to music. You guys are talking about different topics. You just like zone out, play ping pong for a little bit for a break. You know, like it. Like in some of those memories are I'm gonna take it forever with me, even though it comes from something unhealthy. You know, I guess it's finding the balance that you were mentioning. Like a lot of all-nighters, yes, it's very bad. But I think that whenever it's needed, like for example in finals week, which most of the time is the needed time, but everyone is there. You know, it's something that you want to experience. You want to be there. Like in the end of the day, if you're like struggling, you know that your answers are gonna be able to be not like you're not gonna be able to have an answer for it, but everyone's gonna help you solve what you were looking for, because everyone's gonna be like, damn, like I gotta help Jojo. You know, I gotta Nate, like hey Nate, you know the answer, like or you know how to do this. It's either from something technical or from design and spec. I think it really takes upon like your personality and what you like it.
I mean, I would argue, I mean, both of you guys have made a similar point where, you know, you've enjoyed some all-nighters because there's other people there with you. So you're not like struggling on your own.
Yeah.
But I would argue that's just, you're enjoying the studio culture. It just so happens that it's overnight.
Yeah.
I mean, if the same situation played out during the day.
No.
Which it does.
It does.
Which it does, but it's not necessarily like you guys enjoying working late at night. It's just that there's other people that you feel comfortable around, that you enjoy working with, and that they help take the edge a little bit off of the situation.
It's like I said, it also depends on whether you're a morning or a night person. Like I said, I don't like doing all-nighters because I feel sick. I feel sick. I feel like sore throat. Every not great symptom. But then it's like, I'm a night person. I noticed there's a certain point that like I wake up early in the morning, my brain is like in la la land, and it's like it's not working until it hits 6.
Yeah.
There are times that it's like that, and it hits 6, and like it feels like my whole perspective shifts because I'm a night person,
No, in my case, I feel like I really don't like all-nighters. I pull them because
Necessary.
sometimes you just have to. But every time I do, I just don't feel like talking to people. I just don't feel like seeing anyone. I don't feel like doing anything, like nothing. I don't feel like presenting itself because I'm so tired, so drained that I just have fury, the rage.
Oh
It's
my
just
God.
keeping me awake. Like, it's crazy. So what I'm gonna be doing, for example, to kind of figure that out a little, is I'm gonna get a couch, because my problem is the non-sleep. If I don't sleep, that's gonna get me mad the entire next day in presentation, and you just see me like I don't care, which I do care, but my energy is so drained that I don't care.
Yeah.
But going back to you, I feel like all-nighters are unhealthy. I am also a night person. When I wake up in the morning, there's really little times that I actually do work on the stuff. I do other things, or I just stay in my bed until like 1, and that's where I start ranging and doing all the work until 5 a.m. and then I go to sleep normally. But again, I live far from school, so there's no point of me going home to then come back out. So staying here in this environment, that's what actually makes sense to me. But finding somewhere to sleep, that's the problem, because you cannot just scratch in a table and be like,
You can. Probably worse.
I mean, you can, but you're gonna wake up with a neck like this, and you're gonna be working on your computer like this for the rest of the day. So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
How about your name?
For me, before I get into the studio culture, the thing about architecture being this weird experiment is, for me, it's true, and at the same time, so I don't know, maybe not true at the same time. It's paradoxical what I'm saying right now, but like the idea that my parents tell me this all the time, like, oh, you're in architecture school for 5 years. do you have to go 5 years to be an architect? No, they've been we've been building buildings before architects were, were a thing. And you look at people like Tadao Ando, who never went to architecture school. Or I think, don't get me wrong, or I might be mistaken, I think also Frank Lloyd Wright never went to architecture school. And it's like, you have to go through all this 5 years of, just dreadful work, just struggling, and then have to go get your license before you actually can, make an impact on, in the world, or, stamp, the floor plans in your image. But then I also like it at the same time, because it's like we're all together. We know this is a very hard journey. It's hard to be an architect, and then having people that are going through that journey with you, like you guys, for instance. I know you guys can all agree with me on this. Is that if we didn't have our friends in architecture school, maybe we would all dropped out by now.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Because it's like it's we get to experience our struggles, our success all together, and that's what makes it beautiful. I think that's what makes it really a good social experiment or a good experiment, because you're able to build bonds with people, you're able to connect with people, you're able to impact people. And like you said, there's a point you brought up that you might have an issue with your design, but you come into the studio and talking to people, I can bet you're going to find an answer to your problem. There's always someone to help you out.
If not one answer, 10.
Yeah.
Because I think that the truth about architecture, if you truly look into it, is that it's very lonely. It's
Yeah.
like if studio culture didn't exist.
Which it doesn't at most schools.
Yeah.
Is an issue.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very lonely. You spend a lot of time by yourself trying to crank out work or figure out a design, and you, like, if you're not like going through this experiment as well as like a way to better yourself,
Yeah.
it gets very lonely. Like
Yeah.
you if you're not aware of like, oh, I have issues with time management, I have issues of, which I am aware of my issues and I want to work on them.
Yeah.
But and like, oh, I struggle with this and that, like it's very lonely, and then you spend a lot of time just criticizing yourself and your design, and it becomes very harsh and like very serious. Whether when you are taking advantage of the studio culture they were talking about, where everyone is going through this journey of growth,
Yeah.
and we're all helping each other. Be like, hey, you might not have the best time management. Like we talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
I don't have the best time management, but Stanley does, and he's here for me. He's holding me accountable. Be like, hey, Julia, we got this. Like I got your back. In the same way that this exchange with different people. So again, everything has its good and bad sides. Just depends on what you see.
Yeah. Go back to like the ritual thing, like about it's or like being a social experiment, like about the loneliness. In architecture school, like even before we went to architecture school, like just seeing like the amount of dedication, just seeing the amount that you have to be by yourself, like you said.
Yeah.
It's like you always have to, put aside, a lot of times the idea of, being with friends. You always have to, like you said, alone, and it can be lonely, but then you have people around you going through the same thing with you, and so it makes it more easier that you have people going through the same experience as you. But yeah, it is maybe it is a weird social experiment. I never really thought about it.
Yeah.
But
We'll see later down the road.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, my parents always tell me like, go read about sociology, about how,
psychology.
or like how societies come up with, architects or even, professions, and I remember talking to this professor and it's like, oh, why do we have to go through all this, just to become an architect?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's just a protected profession. Basically, because if everyone can become an architect, it's like, what's
Then
the
no
point
one's
of
an architect.
no one's an
Yeah.
architect. So
Well,
that's why we have all those hurdles in becoming a licensed architect.
I mean, at the same time, though, it's at least in my mind, it's so hard to get to that point,
Yeah.
because if you don't do an adequate job,
Yeah.
people die straight
Yeah.
up. Like
Yeah.
there's no sugarcoating it. There's no like people will die if you do not do your job.
Yeah.
I know, like it's a little extreme, but like it's true.
It is
And
true.
it happens all the time.
Yeah.
You don't want a doctor that
that passes through their classes, you know.
Chat
Yeah,
GPT,
yeah, exactly.
videos.
like, and you know, like you want someone who actually knows what they're, you know, what they're actually doing. Like you don't want your dentist who graduated reading off of, you know, some random books he found. You know,
Hopefully he's not watching YouTube videos while you're on the table.
exactly. Like you don't want some self-proclaimed dentist, you know, because it's your health and well-being, you know, and
You find it so unavailable. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking of a dentist. I don't know where we could be architects.
but that I at least to me, I feel like that's why there's so many hurdles, because there's, you know, you're dealing with people's lives and their well-being, you know.
I mean, that's the whole definition of an architect is protecting the public safety and welfare.
Health, wealth, and safety.
Yeah, it's around there. That's
Yeah.
exactly like definition of it, and we learn it, and I think it makes sense. I mean, I think there are ways that could be more protected, like to like protect someone's integrity,
Yeah.
in the sense of like, because if you don't sleep and drink a lot of caffeine, you don't know what's gonna happen when you're driving back home.
Yeah.
Something like that gotta be said, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that like the studio culture, like the idea of pulling all-nighters, and that's the part that I'm grateful for, like the school that we're in, like Ben was saying, and some schools are really a problem, is that you can help the students do a better job at protecting themselves by adjusting the curriculum.
Yeah.
If you're putting something that you know it's like impossible for them to get it done, so what do you think is gonna happen if someone that takes it very serious and really, really, really wants to become an architect, and it's their dream, and they put in risk like their safety, they put in risk their health, they put in risk their time, sleep, what do you think is gonna happen, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's also not just the students, I think also schools take part, it's like a 50-50 type of thing. Schools also take part into what happens within the studio culture, you know?
Yeah, that is 100% true. I remember when we first got to this school specifically, and how talking to the people way before our current director came into place, and they were talking about the way the studio was set up, how it was always about me versus, you know, the other people, and how, you know, our, you know, curriculum or our program is really, like our director says a lot, it's a big family.
Yeah,
you
we're
know?
a big family, yeah.
And we always trying to help each other out. We're always reaching out to people. We're always, you know, having events to, you know, get people together to just collaborate more. And that's one thing I really like about our school.
Yeah,
we do
really
good.
appreciate it.
Yeah. And it's one thing that really helped me. I mean, I would say helped me ease into architecture school, because before even, I think we talked about this in the previous podcast, like, or I talked about this in the previous podcast. Like when I looked up architecture school on YouTube before coming, it was
All this toxic
it's
knowledge, like
you versus the rest,
On
and
the intro video.
no sleep,
no sleep,
insomniacs, everything, all of it.
The professors hate you, or they try to
Break
destroy you.
models.
They break your models. And I'm happy that, you know, I'm able to come to, you know, this institution, this great institution, and be able to have a family that's collaborative, that's helping me out, that I'm also helping them out. You know, it's just mutual, you know, engagement. You know?
No, I had a professor that he told me that when he was in architecture school, he had a professor that would build the models out of the window.
Wow.
So.
Wow.
No, it was on the building itself. A professor 2 years before, he will grab the models and throw them to the window.
Well, either way, I heard a story of a professor that threw the models out of the window. Either way,
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's
Sometimes you just have to wonder what goes through someone's mind to be like that.
insane. I mean,
We're like, I want to make you suffer.
Do it again.
Yeah, like again, school takes part into
The culture.
the culture.
Definitely.
If someone were able to be like, hey, like administration, that's not cool. You know, in the end of the day, the students are spending their money on the model that you're throwing out of the window. Like, come on now.
Or even
Or their time, their safety. Like, I don't know.
Or
Something
even
Sam said.
there's some cases where professors might have students, you know, invest in, you know, much more expensive materials, you know, just for it to get thrown out, you know.
Yeah.
You want to have an environment where, you know, the professors are empathetical about the students. They're empathetical about the resources of the students. Like, you know, not all of us are working, you know, and some people are working, but still it's like we're students, you know, we have a lot of expenses as well. So spending a lot of money on just for aesthetic, just for the case of aesthetic and not practical necessity, it's like, you know, yeah, it's one of those things that maybe we still need to work on in terms of our student culture, but this school is definitely way better. I'm saying that.
No, the fact that they spend their money on to give you as material, that's
Yeah,
something I've
even-
never
yeah,
experienced
Yeah,
before.
even the fact that we have professors that invest money like at the beginning of the semester just for us to be able to build models, physical models, and stuff. Yeah, I think going through D5, I barely even spend money on
No.
materials.
I think I spent under $50.
Yeah,
If
for
you
the
did, it's because
entire-
you're going out of your way to
Yeah.
do something.
Probably just glue or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
probably just
I
glue.
feel like
yeah.
blue or
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no.
yeah.
Well, getting back onto the topic of like cost, I think we need to get into like poster culture,
Yeah.
True.
because the way I see it, a lot of people like enjoy seeing these posters, though it becomes an issue because I know some people that like to pin them up in their own rooms after the critique is done,
Yeah.
when professors start redlining everything.
Oh yeah.
And so once they're done with the poster and it's all redlined, they've done their corrections, and now they just toss it out because it's
Yeah.
I think it's the still wanting to hold on to the analog while we're slowly moving to a more digital outlook, you know. And there's nothing wrong with printing a poster, you know. It's not the fact that you print the poster that's the issue. It's that you're constantly having to print multiple
reprints,
posters,
Yeah.
you know, with every small iteration that you do, and then they're always constantly getting drawn on whatever and this and that, you know. If it was just that, you print on a 8.5 by 11 or whatever it is that you made changes on, and then they mark that up, no one's gonna care.
Yeah.
But it's a
big
giant,
poster
like
that
2-3 foot long
Or
poster.
with a lot of color or different background colors, that's what it's getting.
It's like $20-$30 every poster.
Yeah.
Just really having to rearrange, organize, and then also having to do a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We do gotta give, sorry.
No.
We do gotta give a shout out to the professors that ask you,
Yeah.
can I draw on your poster? Or the professors that bring trace paper.
yes,
And
trace
put it on
paper.
top.
Yeah.
Because again, like you said, there's people that like to keep it. You
Yeah.
don't know it's someone's money that was spent on it.
Yeah.
Professors that respect the integrity, I think that's something beautiful. Because again, they're being respectful of your money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. We do have professors that are like that. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll get a sheet of trace
Yeah,
paper,
Yeah.
pin it up right over your thing, and then all over that.
Actually, even when we were in lower division, because we would have like hand drawings, we would have professors like, because a hand drawing technically, like you do it on
Wow.
tracing and then you change it to vellum. That's the final paper, correct?
Yeah.
Sometimes the drawing that you have it on tracing, that was like your final drawing. All you have to do is put it on vellum, just clean it up and do it. We'd have professors like erasing stuff or
Wow.
red marking and stuff like that, and it's not something that you get to reprint.
Yeah.
It's something that
You have
you're
to
gonna
read
have to
it.
figure out.
You're gonna have to redraw every single line that you did. And we also have professors that will also write on the vellum.
Oh yeah, on the
Right
vellum
before
set.
presentation, they would be
Right
like,
before presentation.
pin up your final drawings, let me see them. And then they would write,
Yeah.
mark your final
Before
paper.
presentation.
And that's
Like a day or two before presentation.
we would have like we'd have like a pre-final assessment. So the
Okay.
professor would like prepare you for you to finally present your project in front of a juror.
Yeah.
So ideally on that pre-final, you if you don't have your final model, you have a finalized rough model, and then if you don't have final drawings, you have your finalized rough drawings on tracing, and that type of stuff would happen. And let's be honest, tracing is not just expensive, but it's cheaper than vellum. Vellum's like $40, $50 a
Yeah.
roll.
Wow. Wow.
And it will take about 5 days to do all the drawings they will ask for.
Yeah.
Just to redraw them into the new page.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I guess this like overall like poster drawing like is a matter of like the professors helping keep the integrity and being respectful of like this is your money,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Because I've heard like different things of like architecture being an investment that you don't really get to like fully pay back.
Mhm.
And professors that help the reality not be true, I think that's something amazing.
And I think a good solution was what Georgia was talking about, where it's, you know, you're gonna present, it's either the PowerPoint or the poster. You know, like if you can't fully explain your project with all the required drawings and documents on the poster, then that's not necessarily the poster's fault.
Yeah.
That's on you for not making the deliverables eligible enough for someone to look at it and understand your project, you know? Because if they don't understand the poster, how are they going to understand the presentation?
Yeah.
The fundamental issue is the quality of the deliverable, you know, of the floor plan, the section, whatever. So, and it's just like, now your time is split, having to make two different things that functionally do the same exact
Or
thing.
should, in the very least.
They should be doing the same exact thing.
Yeah.
So why would you double up on something?
Yeah.
You know, especially if like here, because most of the time most of the attention is towards you, towards the screen, towards your
Yeah.
presentation. So what's the point in printing up a poster?
Yeah.
Well, if you want to do the poster, just have it, you know, your own little section on a wall, and your project is on like a podium or whatever, and then you sit next to your project, and then you explain it to the jury, to the judges, and that be it. There's no reason to double up.
Yeah, that's a great point, because you haven't been thinking right now. Do you guys think that since, you know, we're moving forward, you know, we're moving past, or right now we're in the 2025, you know, right? And you think postal culture is outdated since we have the technology like PowerPoint, or, you know, monitor screens to show, and then there's like integration of AR, VR. Do you think that's gonna like transform the industry or the way we, you know, express architecture?
It will. I feel like eventually it's gonna go away.
Yeah.
Right now, I feel like there's so much you can do in a poster that still looks nice, still gives the architectural appealing.
Yeah.
You know, that it's still useful.
Yeah.
We can still do it.
Yeah.
My problem is not printing it or doing it and having it print. It's not that. It's the idea of us having to print the poster, put it on the wall,
Yeah.
not even people not even looking at it,
Yeah.
and then you having to present a whole different presentation
Mm.
with also the poster on the PowerPoint. So it's kind of loses the point of printing the page, because we're just wasting paper at that moment. Because nobody's looking at it, nobody's expecting you to present it. It's just there.
Yeah.
I believe that a PowerPoint or like a presentation and a poster should functionally be two separate like entities in
I
and of
agree.
itself.
Yeah.
Because when you present something, you have a different storyline than what you show on a one-clip poster. So it comes really down to the fact that what we have been doing in studio has pretty much defeated the point of them being two separate entities, and they've basically been saying, turn your poster into a PowerPoint,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which it should not be that way. It should be a
Complementary. They should complement each other.
yes.
Yeah.
They should basically one should bleed into the other. That way you can present your process while also showing final deliverables and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah.
I think that a way to solve that would be like, for example, when we go through like precedent research or like conceptual research, that could be like the poster itself. And I can tell you one thing, whenever we were in our lower division school, we didn't present off of PowerPoint. So we would basically, the only thing we would rely on was the poster. So and we didn't have a template either. We would have to design it. So, and that was my favorite part. That's like the part that I agree to disagree. I think there's still something about poster that is so beautiful. Like it puts the touch of like your project and your graphic design. It like kind of ties everything up. But then like what we're presenting is, which not complaining about templates, they make our time 10 times easier. Like makes the whole experience better. Like, but if you're not designing, if the information isn't on PowerPoint, then again, it makes people question. I think that the way to solve that would be like what I was saying, like putting different information, and you go from your presentation something more dynamic. You start presenting from your poster, you show that this and that, la la la, and you go from your PowerPoint and you start swapping the pages, and then like, I guess it's even more dynamic. It gets people to like reason with you, you know, and feel a little bit more intimate because you're showing something here and then you're going there, and you know. I guess the whole idea is beyond, I guess, the idea of the poster, like a pinup, for example. Why would I only pin up my poster if I also have mini study models? Why could I not pin them up on the wall and make a beautiful composition on the wall? That's also part of your presentation.
Yeah.
You can put you can put your model on the table. You can put your poster on the wall and have your PowerPoint. Okay, that's a setup that everyone has. You know, that
Yeah.
doesn't make it different. What's gonna help you for you to present? Like if you have your poster, you have your like study models pinned up next to it. You can go like through the process. You know, instead of being on a table that no one's gonna look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have it pinned up and you're showing the poster, someone's gonna look at it. It participates. Like, it becomes more dynamic your presentation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess it's a matter of like everyone like catering and like
Mhm.
if you don't want to go with the analog, fine.
Yeah.
But then let's
Yeah.
let's wobble
Yeah.
things a little bit more to
Yeah.
fit it in.
I never really thought about that or about it that way. Like you presenting, like you having that paper, that element that even people can walk up and touch. It's adds that element of like
Yeah.
I'm there, I'm present, you know, and even like we could be having critiques and the professor could walk up all the way up to you and talk to you straight, you know, in your
Yeah.
face, as opposed to just a PowerPoint and then you're just sitting back there and you know
Go back.
go back.
Forward. Wait. Go back to that render and go forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Then let me check it again. Go back.
Yeah. No, and then
Yeah.
the other cool thing is that like once the presentation's end, if you really like the drawer, you can bring your drawer back to your pinup.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the drawer get to experience your board, the drawer get to experience your study models.
Yeah.
Oh, I really like this element. I see how you finished it up on your final model. Like
Yeah.
that's cool, you know. Like it also ties to networking, which is also a very big part of architecture school. I think about anything. Like if you don't network, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know? So I think that if we're gonna protect it, let's do it. But
Yeah.
let's reason things up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would almost, honestly, I almost prefer like presenting with just a poster.
Mm.
Like if I had a choice, it would just be the poster, no like PowerPoint, no digital anything.
Yeah.
You know, everything's there, and I just go through, one by one,
Mhm.
and it helps because all the information is there all at once, so they can instantly, track like what
Yeah.
goes where, what's A, B, and C.
No going back, going forward.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Go
and
to
it's
the second page, to the second slide. No, not that one. The other one.
The,
the other one.
yeah, the one right
Exactly.
before that one.
And then it freezes because it's too heavy.
exactly.
Oh,
Exactly, and then it's like what you guys are saying, you get a more dynamic discussion because they can actually go up,
Yeah.
stand right next to you and be like, oh well, I saw this detail and I want you to talk more about that, and
Yeah.
so you get more involved, and I feel like I've presented better and gotten better feedback when I'm presenting just with my poster rather than having the poster be its own separate entity that's
Mhm.
doing nothing, and then the presentation.
Yeah.
And then I guess on the topic of like new mediums being introduced to represent our work,
Yeah.
I don't think posters are gonna go away. At least not right now.
Mm.
I mean, I think the idea of the poster, I think that'll be there, to stay for God knows how long.
It's like sketching.
Whether that'll be on a physical paper or on an LED screen,
Yeah.
that's really the debate. But the idea of a poster, that's gonna remain.
The paper, I feel like eventually they're gonna
Yeah.
run away about it.
But that's not really
We're gonna have the VRs. we're gonna have
Exactly.
The LED.
Plus, it's not sustainable
Yeah.
Yeah.
at all.
But I don't think like the paper isn't what makes the poster,
Yeah.
It's the format, how you
Mhm.
lay it out,
Yeah,
the
the
language
design.
that it has,
Yeah.
You can make we're supposed to make our poster on Illustrator,
Yeah.
Yeah.
online in some fashion, and then it gets printed.
Yeah.
So if you just have that on a big screen, and
It's amazing.
it's functionally the same thing, So I don't think the idea of the idea of the poster is gonna stay.
Mm.
Doesn't matter if we're gonna get a VR, AR, whatever.
But
The-
also gonna stay.
Yeah, in fact, the idea of the poster is probably gonna go hand in hand with all that stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because you're gonna have, everyone's in VR or whatever, and then you have your whole design up there, like in scale, and then right next to it is the poster where they can see everything.
But I think it also depends on the presentation. If we're doing something very futuristic, a design like that's very futuristic, right? And it's something that we'll need, for example, videos or like something that we'll
Yeah.
need in a sense, like a
Okay.
render that you really need to see the detail. Then I think that in cases like that, then you shouldn't do a poster at all.
Well, I
Then it
think
should be something that they should respect, like, don't waste your money on that because most likely you're gonna need to use a PowerPoint or even a VR.
Yeah.
That's totally fine, but I think it's also like, it depends. If it's something more comprehensive, then I think it's cool.
Yeah.
If
Well,
it's
I'm not
something more
saying
static, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you always have to do a poster. It's just that option is never gonna go away.
Oh, no,
it's
yes.
it's never gonna
I don't think
become
it
an obsolete, outdated art form.
Yeah.
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 It really comes down to the fact that a really well done presentation alone can stand by itself, and a really well done poster can stand by itself.
Exactly.
Yep.
It really, if it's done really well, you can have one or the other. And again, like the posters aren't gonna go away, just like sketching's not gonna go away. Just because we come up with new ideas and new ways to do design, like AI has been a key driving factor in our school.
Yeah.
Like, we're still gonna start sketching. We're still going to go through all the whole process.
Yeah.
Precedent studies, climate studies, those aren't gonna go away just because we're using a new medium to do them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the argument really is that with like the new technologies or new media is that they allow you to be more immersed in the data or the information you're showing.
Yeah.
Like if I have a VR and I'm showing you, or I have a client and I'm showing my client through a VR and having them walk into the house that I'm designing for them, it's way more powerful than just a rendering
Mm-hmm.
just on a poster.
Yeah,
you
of
know?
Of course, once we get to that point, yes, of course,
Yeah.
we're gonna start using these tools. It's not like just because they're high tech, we're not gonna do something,
Yeah.
or we wanna stay in the analog. No, we're of course gonna start incorporating these
Yeah.
newer technologies, like Stanley mentioned earlier. The poster is never gonna go away. It might go away from paper, but it can, might end up in LED, like a screen of some sort.
Yeah.
You don't,
Yeah,
you
well,
don't always have to use the poster either. It's not like you're forced to.
Yeah.
And even then, you don't like we were saying, like you have the VR where you walk into the you know,
Yeah.
the future house, right?
Yeah.
If you know, because of that, you may not need a render on a poster,
Yeah.
but maybe you use a poster for something else, you know,
Yeah.
to highlight more the plans and the sections. You know, maybe that becomes the theme of the poster. You know, it's or if you find a way to do that all entirely in VR and you know or AR, you know, whatever it is that you use, then you just don't use the poster.
Yeah. I mean, like the question really was like, do we think that this like technologies are gonna make like the posters obsolete?
No.
I don't think
No.
so.
No.
No.
Because something got to be said as well at the professional world. There's still so many plans in paper.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of things in the professional world that is still paper.
There's still
So-
cities that only accept paper.
Exactly. So it's like if you completely shift away to something completely technological, how would a firm really like hire a student that is not used to like the idea of like I gotta print something, I gotta see how it looks on the scale on a physical matter. Because that's another thing. Because when you put it on a PowerPoint on the screen, you can like stretch the like not like disproportional, but you can make it bigger.
Yeah.
You can zoom in, but it loses the scale.
Yeah.
The idea of you keeping it to scale on a physical matter is still important because sometimes a detail that is this big, if it can be like you know, not understood. But if you put it this big, then the contractor really can understand it. So I think that if the schools really drive away from the physical matter of the poster, it's gonna be like what exactly how it's gonna the scale
Yeah.
look like. You know?
Just because you prepare for the future doesn't mean you don't prepare for the now.
True.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the now, yeah, still, there's still that, you know, you're still in between, yeah, like the past and also in the future. But yeah, but my point really was like, let's say 25 years from now, like, I mean, we're trying to predict here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you see, I mean, it's hard to predict because a lot happens. So even you look back 20 years from now, I mean, a lot has happened. The like the way we
Yeah.
use computers has completely transformed architecture, right?
Mhm.
And let's say AI comes along right now, and then we have VR or AR, whatever which one, and there's a possibility that very well that the industry itself, the way we do architecture is going to be radically transformed, like absolutely transformed. Like this, it's undeniable that it's going to be radically transformed. I mean, like even look at our school for instance, like the way when we got here, we never did anything on hands, or we barely did anything on hands. We did mostly everything in Rhino, as opposed to like, you know, where you guys, or in BC, how everything was analog, or
Yeah.
it started off analog and then you could go into
Yeah.
programs. So the way I'm trying to see is like, 25 years from now, like, I mean, for me, it's just hard to see, you know, the poster being something. Maybe the technology is also going to be like radically like different. Like it's hard to predict
like,
how good
And technology keeps growing
Yeah.
so much. That
AI is getting better every
I
day,
think
exponentially.
I think it's just gonna depend if the whole physical matter goes away in general.
Yeah.
Even both in academic aspect and professional aspect, then yes, it's gonna go away.
Yeah.
Because then in the end of the day, it's like the idea of there's school and there's professional, and there's a gap, but it's a smaller bridge, like,
Yeah.
and that's how you bridge that gap a little bit
Yeah.
with physical better. But if it goes away in professional, why are you really gonna push it in academic? Because at the end of the day, you're training to be an architect.
Yeah.
You're not training to be something else. If you wanted to go to graphic design school, which in the end of the day, when you do architecture, you become 10 different things. But if you want to be graphic design, then just go for graphic design, you know?
Yeah.
Just like with the evolution that you're saying, look at when it started, the whole analog, how people would draft the whole day,
Yeah.
to when CAD started.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that like what's going on with AI right now, it was like that in the beginning too with the computer.
Yeah. It is. It was.
Like there was that whole like people not enjoying it, like that
Yeah.
little fight against it, you know?
Yeah. 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 All right. To the third segment of our episode, of this episode, each host should pitch one change they'll make to improve studio culture.
Why you're looking at me? I'm looking away. I'm gonna do my strategy.
One change to improve studio culture.
Okay, do we wanna agree on like a problem and we're all gonna pitch different solutions, or we're gonna get different problems and pitch it?
We could, if we got, it could be either or. I mean,
Cause if we get the same problem and we brainstorm together,
I
we'll
feel like
find
we
out
just come up with one and then we brainstorm to see how we would solve it.
okay, so let's maybe do a quick exercise for you.
Yeah.
All-nighters. How would we solve all-nighters?
Well, I believe, so this isn't really a solution, but my take on all-nighters. There are some people who are always gonna do all-nighters regardless
Yeah.
of what
Some people
school.
love it.
Not even just because they love it, some people procrastinate that much that they're gonna be forced to do it. So
Yeah.
to remove all-nighters entirely is not gonna be feasible. It's not possible.
No, but I mean like in a
Well,
way
yeah,
that's
I
not
know
hurting
what
the
you-
student.
Yeah. What you,
Yeah.
Without
Like, because
don't
I
know.
heard stories of even students getting in danger because they're in studio, they spend too much time and
Yeah.
they get into the highway
Okay, that
and they
happens to
almost
one
get
person,
into an
like-
accident.
yeah,
Like,
someone-
that can be happening.
yeah.
Like, I'm not talking, obviously it's not gonna go away. In the end of the day, it's your personal choice whether you're gonna do it or not. But like, how could we, not even talking about the school itself, how us as students, we can motivate each other and be like, hey, Giorgio, I see that you're a little bit behind. Let's get on track, you know? I think that maybe there could have been like, you know how when you're in high school you have study hall
Yeah.
where if you don't study you go to sleep. I mean, I mean, or if you don't study you're doing something else, you know.
You just added yourself.
Yeah, go to sleep.
If you're not doing, if you're not studying, you're doing something else.
Yeah.
I think if there was a way that we could like potentially as students have like this volunteer initiative of like having a study hall, that would help each other. Because sometimes when you go home, we don't know what's going on in your reality at home. You might work better at home. There's people that truly work better at home, and that's totally fine. But sometimes, I personally, me, if I go home, I'm gonna think everything besides school,
Yeah.
sleep, do my laundry, you know, like. But if I'm here, saying like, hey Julia, I see that you need to pick up the pace. Do you wanna sit down and study in the library today? Let's do it. You know, that's how we hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
And that touches back on your whole point of like how the school's like a big family.
Yeah.
Because I worry for you and I want to help you, and I know that eventually the help that I'm giving to you might prevent an accident in the future.
Yeah.
That's the way that I pitch it. Like I
Yeah.
think that if we, you know,
Together.
And obviously you won't be able to get everyone, you know, but that's the,
Yeah.
but again,
But the-
oh,
that's,
there's that too.
That's gonna be, you know,
But-
individual
but
choice.
you can't always,
Minimize.
like you can't always expect to get everyone, you know, to not follow the line, but like
in the same place at the same time. Just
it's more like you won't be able to help
yeah.
everyone. You know,
Yeah.
some people just, quite frankly, won't take that accountability and will just continue to procrastinate to high heaven, and then having to do 10 all-nighters in a row to finish their project.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's their choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a way that you can kind of solve a little, I guess, or kind of try to extend the procrastination is kind of have a goal every day of how much work you have to do every day,
Yeah.
and kind of extend it so it's like this is the bare minimum that I have to do, and this will be the best for me to do that day. As long as you finish the bare minimum, you know that you're not gonna have to pull an all-nighter at the end of the semester.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if you don't even do the bare minimum, by the end of the semester, you're gonna have to pull a whole week of all-nighters.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that could be something that the school could help too. Like, because there's some professors who give you full agency, like, hey, I'm sticks by the basic deadlines.
Yeah.
But I had the fortunate experience of having a professor that he was like on to me
Yeah.
and being like, sometimes it wasn't even necessary the deadline. But if I was not to follow that deadline that he gave me, I knew that I was gonna take
Yeah.
longer
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
something else could have happened. So I
Yeah.
think that's something that like having a professor that truly cares of your well-being too,
Mhm.
that helps.
Yeah.
They're like, hey Julia, I see that you're picking the pace. What if we schedule, next class for everyone or for you to bring up a pre-final floor plans,
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
And see,
Yeah.
that, some,
Yes.
some,
Yeah.
some people might not even know that, that their professor would do that, because you gotta be able to talk to your professor.
Yeah.
It all comes down to the individual,
Yeah.
You there watching,
Yeah.
like it's, you have to be, in your case, you have to be the one to tell your professor, I need you to help me, could you give me some type of deadline where I have to have this much done,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or what you think is feasible to be done, so then I can actually focus and do it.
That
You
has
You know,
happened,
you have to be the one to be like, hey, let's all get together on this day, every day, at this time, to do our work. You have to put in the effort. You have to understand what is going on and how you can help yourself,
Yeah.
through it.
For me, like touching back on what Julia said, it's or about the having people or professors set a deadline for you. I think that's one really good practical way. Maybe another practical way, maybe I don't think a lot of people are gonna agree with me on this, is maybe is there a certain timeline of how long we can be in the studio for. Maybe after 8 p.m. or let's say 10 p.m. no one can access the studio. That way you're forced to get your work done within that time, because this is psychological thing. It's also psychological as well, because I bet you, if you have 5 minutes to prepare a portfolio and you have to present within 5 minutes, you're gonna have it done. You're gonna have something done. It might not be the best, but you're gonna have something done. Or maybe we could even have, like you I think one of you brought up the point, like earlier deadlines. Let's say we have maybe 2 weeks before the actual final, we have 80% of it done.
Yeah.
80% of it done, and then for the final you only have 20% to get done.
Yeah, about the thing that you said of everyone having to leave at 8 p.m., I don't see that workable, because at least me, and I know you also
Yeah.
mentioned it, we are night owls.
Yeah,
So it's not really gonna work. What I will say that it could work is everyone that clocks in can only stay in the studio for 8 hours. Of course,
Yeah.
this is a conceptual thing. It's
Yeah.
not really gonna happen because there's no way to control that.
Enforce,
yeah.
But that will be the best way to do it, because once you clock into the studio, then you have 8 hours to finish and go home.
Yeah.
But I think the only way that would work, it would be with someone that's like a freshman. Because if you, for example, today,
Yeah.
they decided, all right, everyone gotta wrap up by 8. I'm already used to being a night owl.
Yeah.
Like, it's a habit that I built for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Like the past 3 years of being someone that works better at night. I'm not saying that I can't change my habits, I can, but like it's not gonna work as efficient. Besides, if you were to get freshman Julia, it'd be like, hey, we're wrapping up by 8, then
Yeah.
I'm already gonna be like, okay, I have only this time frame
Mhm.
to work on. And then I'm always gonna be able to be reliant on that. I agree with you, but in like 50% in a sense.
Yeah.
I think that there is a way that could work.
Yeah.
I guess, Nate, would you say that a big factor to the unhealthy work ethic in like studio culture would be a result of like studios being open late at night, or like having the
Yeah,
door
yeah.
open,
Yeah.
accessible to everyone?
It's possible.
Because in your mind, like even I've had this issue, like you're like, oh, I have 24 hours to get this done. 24 hours before the the final. Okay, I'm gonna take my time. I could pull all nighter, as opposed to like, okay, I only have maybe 4 or 5 hours each day to be in here. I have to now be strategic with how I spend those times within the studio.
Yeah, but I feel like it can also take out the idea of the student culture, because then you're gonna be like, okay, so why am I gonna go to studio to be able to just stay until 8? For that, I will just stay home and then work all the way my 24 hours
Yeah.
at home.
I mean,
not. It could be like, maybe it's a 12-hour window to be in the studio. Like,
Yeah.
But like for me, for instance, like you guys have probably seen this. Like I only clock in at school at 9, and I try to get out by 5.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I don't want to be here more later than 5
Yep.
for good reasons. And one of the reasons that for me, I'm a chat. I can chat. I can't say no to myself or no to some people sometimes. So I'm gonna keep on talking, and then I'm gonna get distracted, and then before you know it, I've wasted 4 hours, or I get on the ping pong table. That's it. Or they connect 4.
And you ain't leaving.
Yeah, I ain't leaving. I get
We
competitive
played for like 3 hours
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah. So maybe it is a personal thing. Maybe it's something I have to work on. Maybe I'm deflecting. Maybe I need to work on. But I'm just putting it out there, like, maybe it's something that it could help people out. Like maybe you have a certain timeline of when you can actually access the studio, and you only work within those timelines.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can't work at home.
Yeah.
Like
I do end up working at home.
Yeah,
That's
you
one
can.
part.
If the deadline is, let's say 11,
Yeah.
like 11 at night, you leave and then you can just continue at home if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing's stopping you. Like, oh, you're honor bound to only work in this studio. Otherwise, you go to jail or something.
Yeah, no, but I've like coming from like community college, I've seen the reality that there's people that can't work at home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is that too. Like
Yeah.
we're just talking hypothetical, and we're just trying to solve a problem. It is a problem, but trying to solve it.
Yeah.
But then like there's people that can't work at home, and that's where I think the studios are open 24/7, because there's
Yeah.
people that can't be at home
Yeah.
either because they can't focus or because they don't have enough space or for different personal reasons. Then the studio is the way to go, because a library's not gonna stay open that long.
True.
In a library, you cannot use glue and drop on the floor and.
I mean, I'm one of those people. The second I leave the studio, I want nothing to do with
Exactly.
homework. No,
Yeah.
I don't even want to look at a pencil.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
I'm nothing, no ruler, nothing.
Yeah,
You know,
I get to that.
so once I go home, I eat my food, get on the bed. I'm not leaving the bed.
You know,
I'm not leaving the bed. But in my mind, the mindset that I guess that I have is do I want to actually enjoy being at home to
Yeah.
relax? So I actually want to have time to go out, let's say watch a movie or go to a birthday party
Yeah.
or just go to the beach and hang out.
Yeah.
What do I have to do to be able to free up that time? So I have to put in the work early, because I'm contrast to these guys. I don't by y'all, but I consider myself a morning person. The
Yeah.
second I wake up, I'm not going back to bed. So I gotta get out of bed and start doing something.
Yeah.
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 So I take that advantage where I wake up in the morning. If I got no work, nothing to do, I come to studio and do my schoolwork, work on design, other classes, whatever it is. And then I might leave sometime in the afternoon, so then I have the rest of the afternoon to just do whatever,
Mm.
And since I consistently do that throughout the week, all of that time that I use on design and schoolwork, it all adds up, it all builds up. So then I keep having, my afternoons free. And maybe I might stay, longer some days. I might have late nights where I leave at 12, 1, 2, But I know that in my head, I have to get this done if I want to be able to rest, to sleep,
Yeah.
or even to eat,
Yeah.
Yeah. Great points.
I think that another one that we could touch on very quick is the caffeine.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that the main way to solve that is that if we were more active,
Yeah.
if we had a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
For those
We
who don't
would have
know,
not needed
caffeine is actually a drug. So
I think if we had like a healthier lifestyle where we go exercise and have personal time and also study, I think that would have solved the caffeine problem.
Yeah.
Not full on, but that would have solved, because whenever you're more active, your body is working in every way, and then you have more energy. Obviously there are times that you need that caffeine boost, that
Yeah.
more energy, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But I don't think that.
you gotta be careful with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that we all gotta be careful, like
Yeah.
the health overall.
Yeah, that's one thing I've been trying to do is like I try to make sure like within maybe 1 hour of working, I get up and I stretch, or I drink a lot of water just to avoid drinking caffeine. You know, or maybe that's something we can implement with you know, in the studio. You know, everyone after 30 minutes, get up, do some stretch.
Yeah.
You know, go on a walk, go on a 5-minute walk. You know,
just
around the
down
city.
the-
You know, and then come back. You know, maybe maybe.
I think it also comes down to when people are drinking caffeine.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Like, if you drink caffeine and then just go to sleep immediately after, your body gets trained to do that.
Yeah.
So the second you start drinking caffeine in the morning, you get tired.
Oh.
There are people who do that basically because they pulled an all-nighter. They drink coffee to stay awake, and then they go home and fucking
Pass
bunk.
out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's an issue where your brain psychologically gets trained to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where now it's an issue that you're drinking it like at 10 p.m. and you're supposed to be going to sleep at this point, not keeping yourself awake. It's one thing if you drank something in the like afternoon, morning time, and that somehow keeps you awake, and your body is trying to stay awake after that point. Like if you have coffee at like 9 in the morning, you're not going back to sleep, so your body is trying to keep itself awake, and so you're not actually going to sleep from the coffee.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
So to the last part.
All right, going to the last part. Speed round. All right, one word to describe architecture school.
Persistency.
Consistency.
Oh wait, can I swap that word?
Okay.
Resilience.
Resilience. And
I have the word in mind. I just like it's on the tip of my tongue.
Discipline.
That's what I was gonna say. Discipline.
Discipline.
for me, journey. It's a journey.
Journey.
I think all if you start connecting the words that we're saying,
Yeah.
they put together the whole experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Resolve.
Yeah, if you don't have discipline, it's not gonna work. If you don't have-
Communication.
Communication.
Yes.
Huh.
If you don't have all of these, then you know how is it really gonna work for you? Because at the end of the day, I heard this once. Design class is 4 credit hour. At least we're taking right now.
Yeah.
You get that, you times that by 3. That's how much time you're gonna be like working on the design at least tops.
At
You know.
least, yeah.
At least.
A
Meaning-
week. They say
yeah,
you should do it.
Yeah,
12
like,
hours a week.
and that's because you're doing not the bare minimum, but you're just like on the category of like doing the D's, what we were saying.
Yeah.
So if you don't have discipline to work on your own stuff on your own time, if you're not persistent to search your ideas, and if you're not looking to have a great journey, then what are
Yeah.
you doing?
And if you can't even communicate those ideas.
Oh yeah, the communication, it's like
Oh, yeah.
you spend all of these 3 working and like doing other stuff, and you get to present, you can communicate, then what is the point?
Yeah.
And you gotta be able to push through. Like everyone has the moments where like I'm tired, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
But you have to,
You gotta push
you know,
up.
yeah, you have to. You have to. If you have to go early in the morning, go early in the morning.
Yeah.
Don't just sit there and cry and complain. Oh, I have all this work to do. Do it.
Yeah.
You know.
If you have to stay late at night, stay late at night.
Get phone out.
If you have, well,
If you have to.
I mean, let's save that for extreme emergencies.
As a matter of fact, I've heard that like when you really don't feel like doing something and you do that, that's when you truly create discipline. There's
Yeah.
actually a muscle in your brain that's when you start working. So if you're like, I don't feel like going to the gym today, that's when you really need to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Because it means that the next time it's gonna feel better and better and better, and you build character based off of that.
Yeah.
And I think that's with anything, architecture school, your personal
Just
like,
life.
journey, life in
Yeah,
general.
just life.
Yeah.
Exactly what you're saying. Don't feel like doing it, that's when you need to do it the most.
Okay, guys, thank you. I guess that wraps up episode 3 of the Arc Rewind podcast, season 1. Thank you for joining. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and other social media platforms. Thank you, and have a good one.
Thank you.
Peace.
Bye.